That we did play a little bit earlier, but I just have to watch it again. It was a one-on-one interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, in case you forgot, he is not just known for being an actor in Hollywood. He's also known for being a former governor of California. And so they did have a special interview done with Fox 11 LA, did an interview with Schwarzenegger about COVID-19 in the state of California. Let's go listen into that right here on News Now from Fox.
Is known by a lot of names: the 38th governor of California, the Terminator, Conan, Mr. Olympia, Dad, and soon Grandpa. Arnold Schwarzenegger, welcome back to The Issue Is.
Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing well, and better that you're on the show this week. We really appreciate it. Of course, the biggest story of our time right now is the coronavirus. That's why we're having to do this remotely like this. What do you make of the U.S. response so far?
Well, I think that if you compare the U.S. to the rest of the world, I would say that we have not really done that well. And I think that, when you see the latest statistics that just came out, where they talk about that we are having 22% of the world's death, even though United States represents 4% of the population. And 4% meaning, that we have 8 billion people in the world. 10% of that is 800 million, and 1% is 80 million times 4 is the American population, basically. So this is the way this works out. And so I think that it's embarrassing in a way to have America be that far behind and have that many deaths. And I think the reason is very simple. I think that we don't have a coordinated effort in America like they have in other countries. When in South Korea or in Germany or in Austria or in France or wherever you go, there's one voice. The prime minister says, this is what we do. Everyone stays home from the schools. The schools are closed. He says that everyone has to wear a mask. Every company has to close down. And there's a uniformity there throughout the nation. In America, we have different laws. We don't have just one federal law. We have, state laws, and then we have city laws and county laws and so on. And so you get into this situation where you're on the federal level, they say wear a mask, and then the states can make up their own minds. And then there's the districts, the school districts that say we're going to send the kids now to school, but they have to wear a mask on the bus. And then when they get off the bus, they don't have to wear a mask in school. So, it's like stuff that doesn't really make sense. It's not scientifically kind of designed. It's more politically driven, the whole thing. And so this is why we are falling behind in the progress. And it's not just any person's fault. This is kind of a systemic kind of a problem that we have where the whole nation did not come together. And, I also want to say that we had in February, and I think it was February 9th, they had the governor's conference at the White House. And I think this was really a good time where the federal government and where the states really could have coordinated, because they knew the coronavirus is going to come, even though at that point it wasn't yet at a very dangerous level. But I think that nationally, just as much as like they used the Defense Production Act, they could have gotten together just like they did with the unemployment insurance and with the Paycheck Protection Program and all those things. They could have gotten together and passed a national kind of a mask bill, so that everyone in the nation, with no exceptions at all, has to wear a mask and to do social distancing. I think if we would have done things like that, where it's coordinated, we would have been much further ahead of the whole thing. And so I think it is what it is, like the president said. But the fact of the matter is, we can do much better. And we must do much better. And even today, when you think about it, meaning not the day-to-day, but this week or this month, we still have situations where it takes an average of 4 days in America for anyone to get their tests back. And when you go to Germany or to Austria, they get it back within 24 hours, the latest 48 hours. So all of this slows down progress. And I think this is the things that we have to really work on.
I'm interested to hear what you said, because you're a Republican who often has said that states' rights are really important, to have more control for the governors. Are you saying you wish that the federal government did more, took more responsibility here?
Well, what I'm saying is that there are very unusual circumstances, like an emergency, where we all have to work together and be in sync. This is a virus that has struck the entire world. There's no two ways about that. It's a very unusual situation, and so therefore you have to really shift gears here. And first of all, shift gears and stay away from making it a political issue, which is a huge mistake, because the virus attacks Democrats as well as Republicans, or independents, or decline to states. I mean, it attacks anything. And so therefore, we all have to work together on this. And I think when you have a federal kind of an emergency and you do it on a federal level, you just get much more done. When you dictate down to the states and says, look, this is a virus, we all have to be in sync with that and bring everyone together, Democrats and Republicans alike, the federal government, the state government, local government, and everybody.
President Trump was asked about the coronavirus this week in an interview with Axios' Jonathan Swan. Here's a clip of that.
You know, there are those that say you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
Wait a minute, John. Let me explain.
What'd you make of that interview?
Well, you know, we all have our own styles, and we all do our interviews the way, you know, we do it. I have my style, and here's his style, and so on. And I'm not about to go and to dump on Trump because of this interview. I think plenty of people have done that already. I would have done it differently, and I would have, of course, you know, not compared the United States with third world countries, or with what they call now developing nations. I mean, you know, the United States is number one in so many things in the world, and we always pride ourselves to be number one. It doesn't matter if it's economically or militarily or entrepreneurship and opportunities and all of those kind of things. And we're the magnet for immigrants to come over here from around the world. So I think a place like that doesn't compare itself with India, doesn't compare itself with Brazil or with Mexico and stuff like that. I mean, these are all countries that are struggling just like we do, and that they have people dying, which is so sad. We don't want anyone to die. But the fact of the matter is, America should be number one. We should be number one in our response and not really compare ourselves with any of those nations.
You've been advising the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. What do you tell him, and what do you make of his response?
Well, I think that he has done a great job. We have been talking regularly. I think it was very good for him to be inclusive and to not look at it as a Democratic issue or Republican issue, and have also, you know, like Pete Wilson and myself as Republican governors be part of his task force, and also Democratic governors, you know, Jerry Brown and Gray Davis be part of it. And we all talk to each other, and we try to be as helpful as we can. And, you know, whenever you are in the arena, and whenever you make decisions and courageous decisions, you're going to make mistakes. I think that he will make mistakes. I think that he will go and be sometimes off and then a lot of times on and all that stuff. But I think that so far he has done really well. And I think we just have to very quickly improvise also on this thing, because that's the art of improvisation, is the art of field work, you know, so that when you have a virus like that, everything changes and you have to be very quick in reacting towards those things. So I think that he opened up businesses maybe quicker than we should have, because then it backfired and the coronavirus came right back like gangbusters. And now I think that we've learned from that, and that we have to pull back and really wait now until the numbers come down, until they start opening businesses again and go back to normal life.
I think we had a brief moment where the Skype froze there, so I just want to make sure I heard what you said correctly. Are you saying that you think California may have reopened too quickly?
I think that it could easily be that we all made this decision that it is now a time to open, and it's maybe was a little bit too quick. And I think we could have waited a little longer, because that's what other countries did. They waited until the rate went down to a considerable amount, and the death rate also, not just the coronavirus, but the death rate itself. And I think we could have waited maybe another month or something like that. But, you know, it's, as you know, it's always very smart, easy to be smart in hindsight.
We've seen you and the other governors together for a PSA encouraging people to wear masks. So knowing what we know now, sort of where do we go from here? What do we do in terms of reopening? And what do you say to the business owners that are really concerned and feel like they're being killed right now? Their businesses are shuttering because of all of these lockdowns.
Well, first of all, as you know, that I'm a big believer in wearing the mask. As a matter of fact, I have one right here, right? This mask right here. It says "Go back," and you put it on. It's very easy to put on, and you put it right over here, like this, and then it has a good message. We'll be back.
There it is.
See here. So anyway, so the bottom line is, I'm not trying to sell those masks, even though we are selling those masks, and the money goes to charity. The money goes to after-school programs and programs like that. But the bottom line is that I am, and I always told it, I'm a big believer in a mask, in wearing a mask. If everyone wears a mask, we protect each other from the coronavirus. And if everyone does social distancing, and if everyone washes their hands all the time, like when I go on a bike ride, as soon as I'm finished with my bike ride, I go and I start cleaning my hands. I come home and I wash my hands. I sanitize my hands and I do all of this kind of stuff. So you have to do that. You just have to think about this stuff day and night, because you can catch it anywhere. I mean, sometimes you don't even know where people catch it and where they, it's out there, and you just got to be very careful. And so I think the more we teach our kids and everyone wear the mask, because this is just very simple stuff. It's as simple as when someone says, how do I get fit? And they say, go on a diet and train every day. It's just very simple. There's nothing tricky about it. There's nothing complicated about it. That's what you need to do.
And we were just showing images. Represent.com/Arnold is where you can go to buy that mask that the governor was just wearing. The money goes to that important cause of the After School All-Stars, which is such an important cause. And a reminder that so many nonprofits have been hurt by all of this as well, which is why it's so great to be able to give. And I'm ordering a mask for all of our staff as well. This is known.
What a nice thing Alex is going to do. I might have to order my husband one of those masks, not only to help out a good cause, but also because Terminator has to be one of his favorite movies. Don't forget, we are all trying to terminate COVID-19, and you can do so by staying updated here with us on News Now from Fox, whether you watch on YouTube. All you have to do is go to youtube.com/newsnow, or you can watch us on your Samsung TV Plus on channel 1006. We bring you all the latest breaking news that happens across the country, top stories, of course, special one-on-one interviews just like that with Arnold.